Alright, what's up? Let's do the first unboxing, the first toy of the year. Ready? This one's going to be a big one because you would think that I was jumping into Motu right off the bat. First of the year, hit Motu, why not? We did a lot of focus on it last year, but look, there are a lot of toys on this shelf. And I'm into a couple of different things. And one thing I would like to add to the shelf, I'm kind of making a thing here at the start of the year. I kind of want to get these figures, get them up there, and get a different set of figures off the shelf. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Leonardo, Super 7, the Ultimate line. This is the first toy of the year, and I am very excited to see this. Let's do it. Okay, so a little bit of info. The Ultimate line is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and part of what I have seen that I have wanted the most. Literally, of all the Turtles that I think I have ever seen, these are the ones that catch my attention the most. I don't think anything else literally even comes close. See, my favorite Turtles ever released, and you can call it nostalgia if you want, and maybe, to be fair, you would be right. There's no way I'm going to sit here and argue with you and tell you that you're not right, because there's a high probability that that's true. I like the original, first released toys. That look was fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, if there was ever a toy line that hit the ground running, and like I said, maybe we're falling into nostalgia, it was that. It was the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They all had slightly different color. It introduced, in terms of, you know, I know the cartoon and everything, but it introduced the idea of having the letters on the belt. It introduced the idea of having the different colored masks. Almost everything about them I liked. Because when I watched the cartoon, they never looked as cool as the adventures I was having with my Turtles. 100% true. See, the Turtles on TV were nice. They were funny. They were exciting and everything, sure, but they were jokey. The 1980s Turtles were not blowing my mind here. They weren't like so cool that I couldn't look away. Now the movie Turtles blew my mind. Those were fantastic, and I would argue they still hold up to this time. But the cartoon Turtles, not really. I'm not really stunned by their greatness. But the toys, even today, I would tell you they're fantastic. Now that I've gotten into other things, I could tell you that I see Motu in those toys. I see that Motu had the action pose. They were made of muscle. Sometimes they'd have the bulging bicep, and like there was some detail on them, and he was like big warrior dudes with angry faces. Sometimes they were cool, right? Well, I get that effect from the original Turtles. The original Turtles had angry faces. They had those white eyes. They had the bandanas and everything, and they had like an action pose already, which kind of made them hard to stand sometimes. They came with multiple weapons, and they had like I remember each of them in their biceps had like these like bulging veins. They were amazing. They were so cool, and I have never forgotten just how cool they were, and they left an honest impression on me, because since those toys, I don't actually think they've ever been topped. I think we've done decent toys, but every time that we've moved forward, they've lost a little bit of their edge, or when they were cooler and they had a lot more articulation and whatnot, sometimes I didn't care for the face 100%, or I didn't 100% care for the body, like some of the red bandana Turtles that were like super long and lanky. That was fine, but it wasn't quite what I thought they should be. Because when I read the comic books, in which I have the entire original first Mirage run, I didn't see them as super lanky. I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue, but when I look at them, I very much see the original toys. That's how I seen them. So when Super 7 started doing Ninja Turtles, and they did these Ninja Turtles, the Ultimates line. The Ultimates line, personally, for me, is the absolute pinnacle of what I've seen in Ninja Turtles. I'm telling you, that's the way I feel about it. This box, in general, is fantastic. And it's one of those few times that I'm going to actually tell you, I think this box is amazing, but I'm an opener. And I don't think I'm going to be keeping this box. So I do almost feel like there's a bit of a loss here because the box itself is something. It really is. But I'm going to say, part of the experience is opening the box. Let's reveal this turtle. Here we go. Oh, yes. There it is. There it is. That is the Super7 Ultimates Leonardo. It's got these cool bricks, this real cool brick layout on the side. On the back, it actually has like a little story card and everything, which is normal for stuff like this. You expect it by this point in time in terms of toys. It's got a fantastic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo on the top. And on the bottom, as I've noticed that this is a thing that some of the toy guys do, and I haven't really done it, I'm going to go ahead and showcase this, because I've heard that you can scan that or whatever, and if that's a thing and you're kind of looking for this, but really all you have to do is kind of go on Amazon at this point. Oh man, he looks absolutely fantastic. I am shocked at just how good, in the package, just how good he looks. That is phenomenal. I'll say I don't know if this is a second wave or something like that, because I've seen some of the guys, the other guys that have reviewed this, and I seem to recall there being more silver on the front of Leonardo's belt. So maybe this is like a second wave, and it's not quite as good as what some of the other guys have got, but I don't know, because, man, when I'm looking at him, this guy's gonna blow my mind. If these turtles, once I get him out of here, if these turtles hold up out of the package as well as I'm seeing them in the package, is the best turtles I've ever seen. Ever. Literally ever. Just ever. I am blown away by the box. We haven't even opened it yet. That is a fantastic Ninja Turtle. So, let's first go over why Leonardo. Because you know, if you've been here for a minute, this isn't just toy reviews here. This is sharing the passion of why. And I've talked about this before. Every single item that goes up on this shelf, every single item has to have a purpose. It has to have a story or mean something to me, or it does not belong here. And him, there's a reason I got him first. So everybody has their favorites. Everybody has their favorite Ninja Turtle, right? I get it. I very much get it. I 100% understand it. There's something about the fact that each Ninja Turtle has such an absolute defining characteristic that we kind of find a way to identify. We see something in ourselves that we're either struggling with or dealing with, or that's the thing we want to be, or something of that nature in each turtle that stands out. Donatello is the intelligent turtle. He likes things like technology. He geeks out. He enjoys science. This is his thing. He's the smart turtle. He may not be able to hold in a fight as well as the other three, but that doesn't matter, because the characteristic that makes him who he is, extreme intelligence and a passion for developing that intelligence and being into technology and geeking out over stuff like that, that's cool. That's cool. Michelangelo is the free spirit. He is 100% the guy that just does. He's living life. He's something that we all kind of wish we could be, right? Carefree, excited, happy about the things that comes his way, mainly optimistic and positive. He lives life. When things come to him that are good, he lives those things that come to him that are good. He's into it. He's about it, right? I mean, that's what I get out of him. Everybody calls him like the party dude, but I don't see him that way. I see him as the guy that, and I've even called this out in an old Turtle review that I did on Fandom Night. I specifically talked about some of the Turtles and a flaw that I seen in the movie Michelangelo. Not a negative flaw, a character flaw built into the character that I thought was important. He lives like a child. Almost like the Keen of Idea, like Goku. They're innocent characters. And sometimes in order to maintain that innocence, he might even push off serious things that are going down so that he can maintain the life that he's currently living. He lives life. And there's really nothing wrong with that. When you get right down to it, I get what's going on. When you or me, okay, as we grow older, and this is another thing that kind of ties us into something like Michelangelo. As we get older, we tend to lose that part of ourselves. We tend to get more serious. We have to do a thing. There's stuff to be done. We have to do this. We have to focus on this. This is what has to be done. This is what we got to do. I'm sorry. Life isn't everything you want it to be, yada, yada, yada. But see, kind of like me, when I get a new Ninja Turtle and I'm super stoked and excited and I go back to my childhood for a moment, that's Michelangelo. That's living in the moment and never losing the passion for the things that you like. He just wants to do things with his brothers and have that time. And that is magnificent about him. I love that about Michelangelo because it keeps the brothers together in a way. I truly believe that. Raphael is the rebel. We all know this character. We all know the edgy hero guy. And I'm not talking about necessarily an anti-hero. Raphael is the guy that has the attitude. He's the cool guy. He's the guy that'll say what he thinks needs to be said. And he doesn't care what you think about it. He's going to let you know. If you've irritated him, you're going to know about it. If something's stupid, you're going to know about it. If the punch has to be thrown, if his brothers have to be protected, if something has to go down, he's the first person moving out to do that thing. He's the rebel. He's the more aggressive turtle. And sometimes we feel like that. Sometimes we have that part of ourselves that we almost will fight to keep in. We won't let that thing out because when it comes out, it can be nasty. And Raphael isn't worried about that. And sometimes that's exactly what that character is. But at times, this is a character trait that beats back on him because he does deeply care about his brothers and his family. And when he gets this attitude and it pushes back against him, he sometimes ends up accidentally pushing away the things and the people and the stuff that matters most to him, and it does cause him a legitimate discomfort. I love that about his character because he doesn't just get to be the cool rebel. There are circumstances and consequences for living that way, and that's true for all the turtles. But my favorite turtle, and sorry if I just became the most boring person in the room, which I guess, to be fair, I'm the only person in the room, it's Leonardo. It always, I can't say that for sure. Look, when I was growing up, it was Raphael. Then as I got a little older, I started realizing that Donatello was kind of like Egon. It made me like Donatello. And then as I started getting a little jaded, as I got older and my adult life started taking over, I started feeling like I wished I could be Mikey, that idea. I started to like Michelangelo because Michelangelo is still just having fun. And then there came a time when I started to realize that the person that I mesh the most with is Leonardo. He's my favorite turtle. He takes the burden of responsibility because the others don't. I'm not saying that they're incapable, but let's be honest about leadership possibilities, about being that person that people go to, about watching out for the group over your own interests. That's hard. And it can make you seem stoic or boring at times. You're watching out for the well-being of everybody else. You're not stepping past a certain point. You won't act too aggressively, and sometimes you won't act in the way that they want. But at the same time, you won't join the party the same way that other people are joining the party, because you're trying to make sure that things work for everybody else. You're watching the family. You are the one that says, we all need to find a way to be together. And you understand and study the principles of the other brothers, the people around you, see what they need, and then offer what they need to keep it going. It is a very tough role to play in any group whatsoever, because the leader takes all the blame, even when it's not their fault. And it's interesting to me that over the years, doing things like Fandom Night and keeping my own group together, doing things like Friendsgiving and events and celebrating birthday parties and having people over for the weekends and creating hangouts and going out of my way to keep my friend group together after all these years, you'll notice that as you get older, life gets more complicated. Things come your way, and before you realize it, it's way more difficult to keep everybody together. It just is. Life happens. Everybody has a million things they have to do, and if you're not willing to put it as a responsibility to make friends happen, they're gone. They don't hate you, but they have things they have to do, just like you have things you have to do. And if you don't go out of your way to put yourself in the center and lead the group, that is tough to do. And sometimes you're not the best person for it because you're stressing out over making it work. I understand Leonardo very, very well because I've lived the Leonardo life for many years. He is also the most disciplined. He knows that the work has to get done and someone has to do it. And if it need be him, if he need to be the boring guy that does all the work, then that's the way it is. He puts more time into his training. He puts more time into studying his family, being the strategist. And another thing about Leonardo is that, unlike some other leaders, Leonardo is willing to set aside his pride and do what is important for the team. He's not about ego. He's not about telling everybody that he's the better fighter or he can get this done or he'll do this or this is his plan. Sometimes he knows that Raphael is the necessary component and he has the right idea. Sometimes he knows that Mikey is right and it's time for the group to settle down and enjoy life a bit. And sometimes he knows that the other turtles simply can't make this happen. Donnie has the know-how. Sometimes he has to step back and say, I don't understand this thing. But one of the others do. And he will defer to the judgment of the other turtles from time to time because he knows and believes and understands that that's another important part of leadership. And just to put it out there, it very much is. Leonardo is the first guy from this set that I bought because he is my all-time favorite turtle. And now that we've had our fandom talk, let's look at this guy because this guy looks amazing and I cannot wait to have him in my hands. Okay, so first opened, there are two sleeves here. I cut the tape, so we're going to lift this here. And we're going to go to the bottom sleeve. The bottom sleeve has a couple of things here. We have the interchangeable hands. So we have the different hands, which is going to be important for things in general causing, there's going to be, it looks like there are closed fists, there are extra gripping hands, and there are these kind of like, ah-da type of things. And then the original weapons rack. This is just a gimmicky thing. It's just a gimmicky thing, and it depends on where you sit as to what you think about this. This is kind of cool, but not necessary. The extra hands I will 100% get behind. The weapons rack, maybe had it come with one of the turtles and then not been reproduced for the others, but you could argue that that's part of the gimmick. I won't ignore that it's part of the gimmick. This is kind of cool if you're really digging the nostalgia, because it is 100% the original old weapons rack. This is it, man. This is the old weapons rack. And they're even the same ugly color that we remember from the old weapons rack. It has the two swords. It has the thing here, I don't know what that's called. It has these stabby things. It has two throwing stars. And it could literally sit behind your turtles. I guess that is kind of cool if it acts as a little background display like that. It is a literal weapons rack, and you could use this for different things. Or you could cut them all off the pegs, snippy snippy, and you could use them if you want a really old feel with your turtle. That could also be kind of cool, because you could use these orangey, brownish, tannish swords, and that would be kind of cool because it'd give you like the really old feeling of the figures. There is merit to that. But at the same time, we may have been able to cut down on a little bit of the cost without these. If I'm not mistaken, these guys are about like $50 to $60 when they first launch. I didn't have to wait that long. These have been out for a little while, to be fair. But I didn't have to wait that long to start seeing them going for like 30 and 36 on Amazon. So I'm not going to cry about their price. I'm really not at this point in time. But maybe it's the overzealous packaging of so many accessories. And once again, we were talking about accessories in the last video. Maybe there's so many accessories that we're now going to have to deal with storing things. And that's something to be said too. So I'm not 100% sure where to go with that. The other part of this turtle is all the rest of him. And you get a better look at the turtle right there. He has the extra head. He has the fantastically painted weapons. He's got a slice of pizza because, of course, he does. He's got the turtle comm both closed and open, which is cool. He's got those two stabbing cutter things, but they're painted. And he has that cool sticky, cutty, grabby-esque weapon thing, which is like that as well. There's not too much in terms of what holds him in here. There's a line across his back right here, and there's a thing down there, and we can just cut both of them. And remember what I was telling you is to buy a set of snips, because you just cut the legs, there's that, then you go right there, and you cut that, we're done. It was just click, click, and now he can be removed from the package. These are kind of a good idea to have on hand when unboxing things. Let's get him completely out of here. I gotta hold him. Okay, so I got his swords out, and they are very nice. They're very nice. They're done very well. I like the paint. I think that the shine is very nice. I like the gold and the silver. They complement each other. They work very well. They're plenty long, by the way. In terms of comparison to him, they're plenty long. They will 100% work for the effect that we're going for. They don't feel too short. They feel pretty perfect. These are what I care about in his hands. I'm not going to really put any of the other weapons in his hands. I don't need him to hold pizza or nothing like that. Maybe if I do some pictures, or if he makes it into some sort of dumb-face Skeletor video or something like that. Who knows? But these are what I primarily care about for display. He comes with a second head, and I gotta be honest, it's really, really good. I mean, it is awesome. Look at that. That is menacing. It is cool. It is mean. It gets exactly what I was talking about. It feels like that comic book. That I like this, like the length of the bandana. Everything about him is really fantastic. It just is. That is really nice. And I don't know if this is going to come in the camera or not, but I will try to show this off real quick. The bandana has a material-esque look to it on the normal head and the other. I'll get in here as best I can, and I really hope this is showing up, but if you're looking at the bandana, it's not just a painted blue. It has literal texture. It looks really good. I think that's the best focus I'm going to find, but it is shockingly well done. That actually has texture. I am very impressed. He moves well. His arms, of course, go up like that and everything like that. You know, I'm not that worried about showing off a bunch of posability and everything, but for what it's worth, he does look great. The belt feels like, I know it's plasticky material or whatever, but it also has a texture to it. Like, it looks like an actual leather. That is fantastic. The L right there is real nice. I hope that every single belt has a bit of a different thing right there. His shell is phenomenal. It has all these scratches and like battle marks and things like that. And even the front of his shell is the same way. If you saw that, it has dings and cuts and like bruises and things like that, you know, where he's actually, this guy has been tested in battle. Oh, and look, his arms have those veins. Remember when I was just talking about that, when I was talking about my favorite turtles and everything, and that they actually, look at that. He has the strength veins, like the veins that are popping out of him. That is cool. He's so good. And just like the original turtle, he has the one side open mouth. Each turtle had a bit of a different color, a different green, and each turtle had a bit of a different face. Either both sides of their teeth, like they were either full bared teeth, which I believe was Raphael. Leonardo had this side open. Mikey, I think, had the other side open. No, yeah, Mikey had the other side open, or it may have been Donnie. I'm not 100% sure. And then one of them had their beak that was down in front and had both sides showing. And wow, just wow. I like his back. I like everything about this guy is fantastic. There's a small issue on mine, and I don't know if I'm going to try to cut that off or if I'm just going to deal with the fact that that's the way that it came out. But on his foot, there's a little bitty ding mark thing, like right around here. There's like a little thing where I'm guessing where they cut the plastic, it didn't cut perfect, but otherwise that is fine. He can almost do the full-on splits action, so he's got a lot of movement to him, which means he'll be able to take all kinds of poses and do things like that. And he seems fairly stable. I had heard that this was very wobbly on some other people, and while it seems a little bit like that right now, that seems fairly decent. In all honesty, yeah, there we go. Like, I think that I could get him standing up even on some uneven surfaces if I wasn't so shaky. This guy's amazing. He only has one move here, so he has the single joint movement and everything. Like I said, the multiple hands. Oh, the fingernails. There's color differential on the fingernails, and there's even a texture idea to the fingernails. They look like fingernails. Let me get him in here. Yeah, you see that? There's a color difference right there, and there's an actual type of texture effect on his fingers to give him actual fingernails. This is fantastic. That's the same with his toenails, by the way. This is fantastic. He could move better in terms of his elbows, but I just can't fault it. I mean, the wrists, they seem to move. Oh, okay, so they move this way. and then they spin all the way around. And then that's true for this wrist as well. And I don't know if the other hands, maybe they go this way. Maybe that's the reason he has two gripping hands. Maybe there's something to that. He has the bicep movement right here, which is really solid. Everything about this guy is fantastic. The hardest decision that I'm going to have to make is the head. Because this is classic. But if I'm updating the classic look, do I want the absolute 100% classic? Or do I want this really mean, really awesome extra head? And there is argument to be made that this might be the better look once you get him up on the shelf. This is what I grew up with, and it is very cool. But remember how I said those are my favorite turtles, and I don't think they've topped them, but I have mentioned that every now and then I feel like they got close. What I was talking about was the faces. The faces in the 2000 turtles, the early 2000 turtles that came out, those toys, I remember they had really mean, really cool faces, but I don't feel like their bodies were as good as other toys that came after them. I actually preferred the shell look and body look from the original turtles, not the 2000 turtles, but I liked the 2000 turtles faces better, and I don't know if I'm just imagining it, but this kind of gives me that feeling. So this may have just hit the absolute pinnacle of turtle collection for me, because it comes with a head that is very reminiscent to what I feel is one of the best face sculpts I've ever seen for a turtle. While I could still pull off the classic look if I wanted to, he's built on the classic design. His color seems right. This is the best Leonardo I have ever bought. Ever. Hands down. Best. I would honestly tell you that right now, as it stands right now, this guy is already in the running for my best toy of the year if I do that. And you notice I didn't do it this year. There is an actual reason I didn't do it this year. I had decided that while I seen a bunch of other people doing it, the whole top 10 toys of the year and everything, they're very current buyers. They buy things that came out this year. And they're like, this is what came out. This is what I'm talking about. I 100% respect that. But they tie themselves down to what came out right then. And I didn't want to do it yet. You can let me know if I've misstepped a little bit. But I've already started a tally list this year for every figure that I will be buying. And I've marked down, I'm marking down the figures as I get them. And I'm probably going to make a list of my personal top 10 figures of the year this year when we're done, to say, these are the turtles, these are the figures that I bought this year, be it Motu, be it Turtles, be it Batman, be it Gundam, whatever. And as I get them, I'm gonna keep a tally and say, this is what I got my hands on this year. These were the best items I bought this year. Not that they came out this year that I got this year. Because look, toy hunting is the way it is. And sometimes we find a toy that's 10 years old, but it might still mean something to us. This guy did not come out this year, but I got him this year. And for January, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. I'm so glad to start the year on this turtle, because he is amazing. Fantastic start to my toy year. Leonardo Ultimates Ninja Turtles. Man, I don't care. I'm telling you, Super 7, in terms of what I have been able to buy, have made the best Ninja Turtles ever. This is them. If you ask me what the very best Ninja Turtle on the market is to buy, everybody has their own opinion. This is it for me. This is the best Ninja Turtles ever released. I loved the original design. I don't feel like any time they ever topped it, and here it is, right here, remade in more modern articulation, bigger, more awesome, and I think he's just about the right size that he may even mix in well with my Masterverse figures, so when I start unpacking the Masterverse guys, I may literally put him with them. But he actually fits pretty well with the, with just the regular standard right there. He could fit well, and because he's a mutant ninja thing with a bunch of weapons and cool stuff like that, and their design was very much inspired by things like Motu in terms of the toys, he would fit perfectly on that shelf. And I actually think he's tall enough that he will fit decently with things like next to Batman's and things like that, which is cool because the Ninja Turtles had that Batman crossover. Either way we talk about it, I think we've been on this long enough. This is an absolute fantastic start to the year. This turtle right here has already made my year better. And boy, did I legitimately need it, because the start of my year is pretty rough. Not going to get into it. Just talking toys. That's what he is. Guys, fantastic. 100% sold. This, best turtle they've ever released. I'm telling you. I don't care. Ultimates line, Super 7 Ultimates line, best turtles I've ever seen. I may actually be influenced enough to seek out all of it. I don't know yet. I'll have to get a look at it. My goal right now is to buy the 4 turtles, Shredder, and a foot soldier. That's where my mind is so far. We'll see as I go where I end up. The Bebop and Rocksteady might be cool too. I heard they're big, which would be cool because it would look really cool with these guys standing, you know, ready to fight a gigantic... that'd be cool too. We'll see where I go. Guys, I've been here long enough. We've talked toys long enough. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.